In a year of seemingly persistent bad and oftentimes depressing news, I think that the Michael Slager mistrial story might be the most depressing single thing that I've heard about so far this year because of what it says about Americans and our history of racism and its continuation up until 2016. I'm sure that you're familiar with this case at this point. I'm sure that you've seen the footage of the shooting of Walter Scott. I'm going to try to play some of it over this video, but we know the details here. Michael Slager said that Walter Scott assaulted him, that he feared for his life, that he tried to grab at his weapons. And then the video came out. Thank God the video came out that showed Walter Scott begins to run away after a traffic stop, and Michael Slager begins shooting at him and shoots, I believe, 8 shots and kills him because the guy ran away during a traffic stop. He so feared for his life from the man running as fast as he can in the other direction that he had to kill him. And there's a mistrial now because the jury couldn't figure out if he was really guilty of murdering the guy. We've covered so many cases where either the initial investigation into a police officer lets them off, or the trial never ends up happening, or they try to introduce ambiguity because there's no video. I mean, do we really know if Michael Brown was really close to him or was he far away? And then we have to accept all these cases in which the police officers get off after murdering an innocent man. And so we're sort of used to that. But it seemed like with the video footage we had of Walter Scott, who wasn't a threat to literally any creature on Earth at that point, him being gunned down because this guy, didn't want to chase after him? Because of the fucking traffic stop? He didn't want to have to run after a man? And so he thought, fuck it, I'll kill him. This should have been the easiest verdict in the history of the American judicial system, and yet we have a fucking mistrial because one juror says, I can't say that he's guilty, I just can't do it. Now, I don't know that juror. I don't know who they are. I'm not interested in the details about them. And I'm sure that if you talk to them, they'd say that they're just, the responsibility weighs on them and they're just taking it very seriously. But we know, looking in on this, we know what this represents, both in this individual case and in the larger American context, in terms of how cops are treated and how black men are treated. We know what this represents. You are allowed to murder black men if you're a cop. And largely if you're not a cop too. But you're definitely immune to any sort of consequences if you're a cop. And it doesn't matter what the details of the case are. It doesn't matter if they had just committed some sort of violent crime. It doesn't matter if they were completely innocent, if they had a weapon or if they didn't. It doesn't matter if there's video or if there's not even. We thought that video would be the great savior. But it turns out that that might not actually be the case in America in 2016. And the reason is simple. We are, as a country, to our very core, more than anything else that we are, a racist country. We're a country that has economically, socially, and politically been based on a foundation of profound racism. Racism that affects any number of different races, but most assuredly affects African Americans. From the very beginning days of America until right now as I'm filming this video, that is what we are, and that informs every policy decision and every jury ruling. And we saw it right here, the easiest case to decide in American history, and so far, no consequences for the guy. Now, it's a mistrial, so that means that there can be another trial. And it could turn out that the cop ends up going down for this. But we know in America now, so long as 1/12 of Americans on a jury are racists, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And I got news for you. We got a lot of road to tread as a country before we get down the percentage of virulent, disgusting racists to less than 1/12 of all Americans. We're not even close to that in America. And if you need a reminder of that every day, remember that Donald Trump was just elected president. And so this is an incredibly depressing moment. If you are part of Walter Scott's family, your stomach just must be churning because obviously you had the fear that there wouldn't be justice and you had every reason to believe that there wouldn't be justice, but you had the video and it seemed like such an open and shut case. And God help me, if they're not 10 times more careful in how they select the jury for the next trial for Michael Slager, I don't know why any black American would have any hope of getting a fair trial at any point in America. Okay, the future of the American judicial system in a very real way is riding on the next steps in this case, and we're going to have to see what happens.